In this video, I will show you how to put together this delicious donuts box card, which is an SVG file from Simply Crafty SVGs. There are also optional panels to place in the front and sides, and on the inside back, to get a different look. So we're going to make this cute donut card. It looks like donuts in a box, or at least that was the attempt. So here it is. Here's a finished version. It's not exactly the same, but just to show you kind of what it looks like. So from the side, it kind of looks like a box. I have a little fold there. It doesn't fold back that much because of these, but it also folds flat to fit into an envelope, which it'll be a A7 envelope. This is 5 by 7, I believe. So anyways, it'll fit into a standard A7 envelope, and we have that in our basic envelope set. I'm going to show you how to put that together. So I wanted to do it in kind of a pink, like a pink bakery box. So I'm using American Craft textured cardstock. It's my preferred paper. And I've already prepped some of these with a little bit of gloss on them. They're kind of glossy, just to give them a little bit to make them look like they're shiny. So I will show you a little bit of technique. I wanted to prep those because we don't want to wait for them to dry. But I'll show you a little technique on extra pieces, and then I'll show you how to put it together. So just to get prepped, if you could just kind of fold these pieces. This is the front and the side. I'm going to put those aside because we'll go back to them. These are the inserts. The front one, this is the front one. We'll want to fold it back and then fold it towards us, which is considered a valley fold, because the fold's inside, and the natural fold is a mountain fold. So fold it backwards first, and then just get it prepped. So I'll fold that back. Then here we have this piece, and I have this little, it's optional. You can choose not to use it, but you could emboss this, which I may just add a little embossing before the end of this video. Just some fun little pattern back there. Maybe just like a birthday or something like that. That'll be cute because you could put something back there if you wanted to. I do suggest using two-sided colored paper. So this is pink on both sides, but you don't have the texture on both sides. So this piece would give you a little texture in there, but you don't need to use it. The first one, I would make it with and without it. So, and if you want to use a pattern paper, we do have... This is optional panel. So this optional panel is in the extra stuff folder with optional panels here. For some reason you wanted to add some little pattern paper or such. But it is optional. So I'm going to go ahead, and I may or may not use it. I haven't decided yet. I have a couple things I want to show you first. So first I want to show you how I ink these and give them a little gloss. So we're going to do the inking first. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab my Distress Oxide. And we will be used Barely Art Glue. That's a glue I like to use. There's two of them I like to use. This is one of them. I like Art Glitter Glue too. And we'll go ahead and ink these a little bit so you can see how I got the look. So it's up to you what you want to use. This is a walnut stain and Distress Oxide, but you could try with any kind of ink you have in the coloring. So we're going to go ahead and flip that over. I like to ink on a little scrap piece of paper just so I don't get my surface dirty. So we'll start with this. And I'm using these little eye crafter brushes, finger brushes, so I can easily control like small areas. So again, this is Distress Oxide Walnut Stain for this one. And I have the colors of the paper in the product descriptions, so you have to go to the website, look at the product directly, and take a look. So all I did was inked around the edges, and you can play with different colors to get different. This is supposed to emulate a bear claw, so that's up to you how you want it to look. But I can't think of all the additional colors, but I did write them down, all the different colors of American Crafts cardstock I used for this project. So the way I do is I kind of ink the in, I kind of blend in from the side. And so this one's not that noticeable, so I could go darker. But I want it to be slight. If you want it to be a little more, you can kind of go inwards. But kind of like it's cooked. But the pictures don't do it justice. I mean, the video doesn't do it justice. In person it does it. So you really can't see it in the video. So we're going to do this for the other pieces too. So I've already done these ones. So I'm just going to show you. I'll just glaze one of them. And probably the twist will be the best one to put a glaze on. But I'll explain to you different options I tried and which ones I felt worked best for me. So I'm going to put that aside. So that's all I did to give it kind of like a little bit of shading. So it's going to be noticeable. I don't think I need to show you, but this one, this is how I did it. I went around the edges and then went into the middle. So I'm going to show you one of the finished ones here. Because this is, I don't want you to feel like you're watching paint dry or something. So you can see, and I probably didn't, I was kind of not purposely, I wasn't really being uniform because it's baked. It's a baked item, so it wouldn't be uniform. So that's one of the ones I already did. That's how I did that. I kind of did a little bit on the edge and then in the middle. And then for this one, this will probably benefit to ink more than any of them. So the other ones you probably could bypass. But I'm also going to ink this and show you how to put this one together. Because I did already pre-assemble the one I'm going to use. These ones you'd want to go around the edges because the edges, when you ink the edges, is going to give it a noticeable depth. So you see it puts an edge to it. So that's the reason for this. But like I said, you could use really any ink you want to test with it. I usually use just practice pieces, or I think I did this particular piece a couple times until I got the color I wanted. Kind of like I could have put like little sprinkles on it for like powdered sugar or something, but I don't know. It gets so small. It depends how much detail you want to go. So you could put, when I mean sprinkles, just little white powder on it. So let me get the rest of it, and I'm going to show you how it's put together. So I hope this is helpful for some. I mean, if you're, obviously you can fast forward, but I'm going to show you how this one goes together. So once you get it the way that you want, and I'm just using extra scrap paper, close that. I'm keeping this on the white paper for now because I'm going to also gloss it. You want to take this piece and you're going to look for this little jut, the thing that juts out right here, and this is where it's going to go. So this is the big piece. Goes the largest piece, middle piece, and smallest piece. So the way you want to layer this, so we're looking at right there. The rest of them are not so bad to layer. This is just very specific. Try not to get close to that glue now that I dropped it. Flip that around. Then this piece goes in the middle. So it's going to make sure you just kind of move it around, and you'll see that it goes just like that. See that? Like that. So we'll go ahead and put it in place. So this it points towards the same little pointy, but it's in the middle. So right here, you want to line it up there, then line it up to right where that corner is. Right there. And you could flip it around and look, make sure it's lined up. You shouldn't be able to see it. And there's our little twist, our donut twist that we'll use. So now we want to go ahead and put a little glaze on it, and I'll tell you what I used. So I tried a couple things, but I ended up with glossy accents. So I'm going to show you that, but I'm going to show you some comparison I did. So I tried this. So I have Judykin's microglaze. This, and typically this is used just to seal paper like a stamp, but it has a little shine to it. If you hear little pitter patters, as I have some little pitter patters of dogs behind me. Then clear embossing powder, which I like, but it made it much darker. So I just used Versamark and this super fine clear embossing powder from Ranger. And that made it darker. Then we have Glossy Accents Thick, so that's if you put it on thick. Over time it discolors, but I actually am going to brush it on, which doesn't discolor, so that's the brush right there. You can see that, that's the brush. And it dries quicker because I didn't want to wait forever. We have this, the Nuvo, I'm just giving you options, clear crystal drops. This is Morning Dew. It just takes a long time to dry, and that's what I used on this right here. So it's really super glossy. So, and I tried different things here. And it looks about the same as Glossy Accents brushed on. So that's why I'm using my older Glossy Accents for it. So Nuvo gives the same. And then we have, it doesn't discolor. These two are not discoloring when, as long as it's brushed on. But obviously it's yellowing here. And then I have the Mod Podge gloss. I don't have that with me right now, but that's okay too. You can get that. It's pretty inexpensive. It doesn't discolor much, which is nice. And then this is kind of an UTEE, ultra thick embossing enamel. It darkens the color. You have to to get it clear. It has some application, but for this, not so much. I'd use it for something else, but I guess some people use it and they crack it, and it's interesting. And you need two coats, but you can see how thick it is. Looks like glass. So the different things I tried. So we're going to go ahead and use the Glossy Accents. I'm going to brush it on. So this is what I did with all these that you see in here with that. So I had time to dry. So the way I did it was just place it here. So yeah, it did kind of show the brush strokes, but it wasn't horrible. So you see it's yellow though. But just brushed on, it just gives that look. So if you were to do this, I mean, this is not necessary. You could just ink it and it'd look great. But I wanted the consistency of a donut. I wanted it to look kind of shiny. And to me, just the extra steps is good for me. So typically you wouldn't use paper to put this on, but I use things that are around so I don't have to. I like to use what I have on hand. So I use a lot of scraps when I do things like this. I just put my finger on there. So get it to where you want it. I mean, if you want to, after it dries and you don't like a brush stroke showing, you could dab it on or something like that. This is the part that's going to show though, right here. This is towards the top of it. It's going to show the most. But you can see what a difference that makes, and it's going to dry shiny. So I'm going to put that aside. So that's how I did that, if people are wondering. I don't like to do something and not tell you. And I believe this is water-based. Let's see. Double check. I was able just to rinse out my brush. Fine tip. This is a really old version of it. Inks. Anyways, I think it's done. Rangers now has it. Well, it does a Ranger, but anyway, it's a really old bottle, but it lasts for a long time. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put this aside, and we'll go on to the putting together the donuts I already have prepped. Here are all the different donut pieces. So we have 3 of this color, and I believe we have this, and all and that in the same color. So I believe that's oatmeal is the color, and I'll have it listed in the, like I said, the product description. If you go, and I have the colors in there. So I inked them already, and we have these layers. So some of your options, of course, we already put that one together, and this one doesn't require anything, so I can put those aside. But now we need to piece these. So let's go for the simpler first. We have 3 of those color and this, and I believe that's caramel, but and then I'm trying to make a chocolate one. So that just goes like that, and it doesn't matter which way it goes on really. It's just glues on there. And the one to the right here would be like a custard. So just glue that on anyway. And I want it to look organic, so that's why it's easier to make this look organic than the actual donut. Just easier to keep the donuts the same size on a card like this. And this one, so I got some ink on here, but I knew this was going to cover it. So when it does dry, it could like just get a little bit turned over a little bit. So the way this goes on is the blockier right here, the square side is on the bottom. And then you'll see this little area right here. See if I can get that out of the way. Right here. Just place it. It's going to look like this. And if it doesn't go on right one way, you're going to do it the other way. So you just want this corner to match up. And if it's not matching up, this is what it looks like, then you have it the wrong way. So we're going to glue that up. On. So I was trying to keep the donuts looking as organic as possible. Set as much as you can. So I'm lining it up right here. I'm just going to flip it over, make sure there's not a whole lot of overlap, but as long as it looks like a chocolate bar, kind of like a chocolate donut bar. So we have all these so far, donuts galore, and this is the last easiest. Well, actually one of these is just going to be a plain. I like plain donuts, so that's one of them in there. So that there's nothing, unless you want to change it. You can take, let me put this on. So just center this, and this is organic as well, so just get it on there. So with these donuts right here, as I just flip that over to apply pressure, and I put it on the wrong side, but that's okay. Make sure you put it on the textured side. When you do these are the next ones. This will be, and I'll show you how to line them up, but they'll go like this. So if you wanted to, you could take this solid. If you didn't want any of these, you don't have to cut them out. You could use pattern paper and make these different colors, like with little sprinkle paper, and you could do the other one as well. So you can change those up however you want to. So even if you just wanted one layer in the back with white sprinkles, that's how you do it. But we wanted two colors. So the way that these line up, so let's just get a set here. There's going to be a little cut line, and it's right there. You can see it. There's right there. And actually, I'm going to put a little mark on that because I can. That's the second layer. That's right there. And this is white. That's in the back. And I'm not going to mark the top one because you can see it. And then the top one has, you have to find it. It's kind of hard to find when it comes to after it's glazed, but it's right there. So what we want to do is situate it in the same way. So I'm just going to go like this. It helps me to know where I have to line them up, and it's easy once you line those up because you can see right through them. And then this bottom one, line up on the edge. So we're going to do one at a time, but I wanted to show you that's what we do. So what we're going to do. So we'll do these two first. So I'm going to flip them over. So this is the middle one with less cuts, sprinkle cuts. The top one has the most. And again, you don't have to use the 3 layers. So I'm just I see that's where that is right there. I'm just going to make sure that the edges line up because you can see it's an organic shape on the outside. I'm just lining them up. So this is probably one of the hardest parts, is just lining this up. And I'm going to take that opposite color and find that cut line. So you want to look for it first, and it's hard to find, but it's right there, I believe. And we'll validate it by lining it up. So when I line it up, you'll see that the white comes through those openings. So I'm just going to flip it over. Be careful to get glue too close to the openings, as this gives you a little wiggle room if you just have them on the side. So when I'm using the Bearly Art glue, it's nice because I have this little fine tip applicator. So right there, I'm going to line it up with that one. And then you can see I'm just lining it up so the ones that are cut out and white showing through comes through. And then flip it over. And then we want to go ahead and put this on one of the donuts. So the same thing here, we're going to just go ahead and quickly, I don't need to put the pen on them because I can see them. The one that might be hard is after you gloss that top one, and that's the one you really don't want to put a pen mark or anything. You could always pencil mark or pen mark the middle or the bottom one, but not the top one because it'll be seen. So I can see where the cut line is. So you might need to angle it a bit. Then as I rotate it, see I didn't get it straight on there. Making sure that it's lined up now. So that's the hardest, I think that's the hardest part of this. It's just lining that up. So I'm finding, again, find the cut line, and then I believe it's this one. I'm just going to validate one more time. So I did that, repeated that just in case it was confusing. So I'm just making sure it's going to line up. So I'm just going to flip it this way so I know I'm in the right position now. If you do like this project or any of our projects, I always ask if you can give me a little like or thumbs up on our videos, and or subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so. And if you hit that little bell to the right, you'll be notified when we have future content. Sometimes I have to be careful when I'm talking and lining up. So again, I just made sure I didn't have too much glue around the opening, so I have wiggle room to get it on. That's the nice part about having wet glue. You can move it around before. And if it's off just a smidgen, it's never going to be noticed. And we'll just go ahead and pop that on. So now we're going to put the card together next. That's where you can make a decision on where you want to place things. We have a little leeway, at least with these 4 donuts, and I will explain that shortly. So as I stated earlier, we have this little panel that's optional inside. I decided to add an embossing element to it. Without changing the color, you could use a pattern paper if you wanted, but this is Parkland Confetti Embossing Folder. So that's what I'm using, and I just used a little embossing. I use the Cuttlebug, but there's lots of embossing machines that are sold today. The Cuttlebug is no longer. So I just made sure before I put this on there, I just folded it this way, and I can add it right now before we assemble the card. So we're just going to go ahead and add that. Went ahead and centered it. So we have that ready. So let's go ahead and take these. I'll put that aside. We're going to add these donuts to the inserts. So two of these donuts is going to be in the front. So you could decide to put these donuts in the front, and then these in the back. This is in the middle, in the actual on this particular insert. So you could put them above, below. So if you wanted to break up the colors and have a little color in the design, you could put opposite that way. But see, you could put these 4 anywhere, 2 there. So these are all the same size. So you can mix and match. And I wanted a plain donut because I love plain donuts. So this reflects me. But you might want to add a different one. Like I said, you could use different pattern papers. So this is one of those, I feel like this is a flexible card for a lot of occasions. So what I'm going to decide to do, I think on this one, I did a little bit different on the first one I did. But I think I'm going to take the blue in this one for the front. So we'll add those after when we're putting the card together. But I'm going to take these and put them here. So I want this one to be opposite the blue. So I'm going to put the blue on the left. So I'm just thinking of composition. So if you wanted to, you could layer this on top of that middle one. Doesn't matter. If you want this on top of those. So that's what I'm going to do. So this just lines up. So this will line up perfectly. So you want to just line it up, that middle part. And then we'll do this other one. So I think the most time spent with this, if you choose to go that far, is to add like the glossy accents. And I literally say I used glossy accents, but making it a little bit shiny, if that's what you choose to do, but you don't need to. I think it would be easy to do. This card would be super fast, no matter what. And you could pop this up too, but I'm not doing that. So you can kind of turn it around to whatever looks good to you. Just lining that up. And then on the back here, we have the bear claw, the bar, and the twist. So we'll add those. Yeah, if you show me a donut, that's a weakness of mine. I just haven't found the best donut in my city, which is good, which is a good thing. And that means it decreases my donut intake, and I just have them every once in a while. So the only thing with putting these glossy, making them glossy, it kind of makes them stiffer, not as pliable, but it really doesn't matter when you're gluing flat. But I think this would be like a fun coworker card. I think it would be fun for congratulations on your job. Could be a birthday card. It really could be a retirement card. Or Father's Day card, because I'm making this right before Father's Day. It's donuts without the calories. So make sure you're putting this on the correct direction. You just want to make sure this lines up. You could dry fit it. I just know that the square part is on the bottom and the more rounded part is on top. I'm just looking on the other side, making sure they're lined up. So now it's time to put the card together. I'm not going to add these two until I kind of get that card flattened, you'll see. So we have this piece. And we have this other piece, which I already folded. So this, we want it coming back. I want that to be the front of the card. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to flip that over so the texture side's out. And I want this to go like this. So the texture side should be showing here. And so the folded part right here, that would be not textured if you were using textured cardstock. I'm getting a little tongue-tied today. We're going to go ahead and we're going to line it up right down at the bottom here. So once we have that side glued on, I'm going to go ahead and add the inserts. So this way basically I put it forward so we can get the same, it's for spacing. So the way we're going to do it, this is the back, so that's the front. I'm going to flip this over, and it's going to glue right there, right to the left of that inside fold there. So you don't have to do exactly up to it, but we want to go ahead and add glue. It's the right one when it's folded up, so upside down. I'm going to pull this up so I can see where that fold is. Oops. Put that flat, sorry. So I'm going to glue it flat like that. So it's going to go like that. So it doesn't have to be right at the top edge, but I'm just trying to make sure it's kind of straight across, lines up with this. Move that over. So now, I'm just going to flip that over. Make sure it's folded. It's pretty straight right there. We'll straighten it up when we glue the other side there. This one, looking at it, I'm just going to glue right here. And it's folded backwards. So there's a mountain fold. Those are mountain folds. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to glue it right to the right of that fold right there. We're almost done. Towards the top, you just don't you just want to go right below that edge. I'm just making sure this is lined up with the bottom. It could be slightly off this other one. It's not a huge deal. So now when we come to this part, this needs to fold under. So we're going to fold that under. Let me go ahead and fold it first. Like that. So this one folds like that, right here at the front. And this will fold backwards. So we're going to put glue on right here. And then right there. I'm going to try to do it all at once. I normally don't do them all at once, but why not? You could do them one at a time. If you're going to do them one at a time, you just have to be careful. I'm going to fold it over like this. So we want it folded right there. We're going to fold this under. And what I'm making sure is that it's lined up right here. Right there. And then this one is just going to fold like that. You see that? It's just going to go straight down, but across. So I'm going to make sure it's straight as I fold it. Going to show you. Make sure you can see it. So I'm just trying to make sure that they fold straight in there. Then apply pressure. Before I flip this over and glue this, I'm going to flip it around so you can see what it looks like inside. So you want to make sure that's good and dry before you go ahead and fold it open. But I'm going to fold this over now. That last tab right here. And add glue here. Alright. So I'm trying not to get glue on the inside like I just did. When you're gluing this last one, just kind of get this bottom lined up. So now we've got everything but the front donuts. So what I want to do is just kind of eyeball where I want them. So I try to create a little bit of dimension. So we just want them to poke up a little bit so you can see them. So you can overlap them or not, but I'm just going to put them kind of glued down to right here. I'm just picking a section here. Get excess glue. Need to get the glue off my fingertips here. And you can go a little bit further down if you'd like. Actually, want to go a little further. You just don't want to get glue on the inside of this, so it'll open and close without getting stuck. So when it's not glossy, it's so much easier to glue. And then you can put a sentiment on the front. But you could overlap these if you'd want. So there it is. So let me get that glue out of the way here. So you can see I have it folded a little bit. It folds a little bit on the back like it's an open box. And you could also put a little sentiment here, but I think the best place is there. So I hope you like this project, and I thank you so much for watching.